Would you look how clean it looks in here? So the plan today, well, I already cleaned the motor, kind of put it back together. It's beyond repair in my mind, so I got my feelers out. Look for once if you're local and you have a big block Dodge, let me know. And while you're doing that, subscribe to the channel. So the plan now is we're gonna let the motor marinate in my brain. I brought the floor pan home out of storage. So like I said, this is actually a pretty good unit. I think this was $400 or $300 or something like that. But yeah, full floor pan. There's no braces on the bottom side, but that's fine for what we're doing because we're keeping all the braces. So it'll go right back to that seam right there across. It looks like all the kind of holes are in the same spot. The only thing that's a little different is right there and there, those little pads, I guess. That's where the seat would go through. They're not on there, so I can transfer them over if I so choose. But it's got the little nuts and all that for the seat belts. Should be good. It wraps up and over. Basically, it's going to kind of wrap up and I guess in there. I don't know if I'm going to use all the metal or if I'm going to trim it or what I'm going to do. But, well, I guess we'll find out pretty darn quick. So the plan's going to be, we're going to suck this thing ahead a little bit. I've consulted with a few of my buddies, because I was a little concerned about being kind of a unibody thing, but I mean, the roof's in it, and it's solid, the sills are solid, all the bracing is solid, there's no motor trans in it. I don't think it's going to twist or nothing, so I'm not going to weld any bracing in it, so feel free to comment below and tell me I'm an idiot for doing that, or not doing that. But I'm going to roll it ahead. We're going to start Sawzall, plasma, whatever you want to call it, to the floor. My only concern is I want to kind of get in there and not drop any bracing out, because I want to keep as much of the brace, well, I want to keep all the bracing. So I get kind of the big chunks out, so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Then I'll start grinding, drilling out spot welds, a bunch of ugly kind of, not just ugly, boring work, shitty work. But it'll all be out, become very apparent what we got to do, and we're going to slide that new one in. I'm thinking it should just kind of, with the back window down, just shoop, shoop, boop. And then it should just sit on the braces. We'll kind of mark it, pull a bunch of holes in it so we can plug weld it all together and have at her. So I think it'll be a couple of days of ugly work, but shouldn't be too hard anyways. Huh? Look how good that looks. It's really easy to buy the dead car and easy to buy the new panel, but putting the new panel in the old car, that's where it gets tough. So I've been thinking on it. I think here's what we're going to do. First off, we're going to get big chunks of the floor out. Now, oh, the old man knee crack, eh? So the front floor actually goes under the rear floor. You can see there's some spot welds. So I think we're just going to go zipping across there. Real ugly. Going to go across the flat. Here and here, there's two braces, which are where the seat go. So let's kind of bloop around that. And it's actually right there. We'll kind of go across there the whole way. And they'll do the same thing around the seat brackets on that side. And back over and meet ourselves where we ended there. That whole section of floor will then come out. This front piece is a little more structural. That's where the torsion bars and all that go. Look how nice these sills are. I took off the plates. Like they're plenty strong. Anyways, so the floor, it's meant to go under the back. It's meant to kind of butt up at the front and curve down. And it does go up and it goes right over here. So these, I don't know quite how this is going to come off. Oh, very easily. Just glued on or what? But anyway, oh, it's actually rotted in there too. So I'm thinking I'll probably do that, get it all out, then I can start taking this right out, and then literally the floor will just kind of fit in. My only thing I'm not sure of is here, if I actually want to have it go right under or just kind of butt it up and weld it the whole way across. We'll see. We'll see how ugly and motivated I get, but I think today should be pretty good. So the compressor's charged up. We're gonna use the plasma on this situation to start, get the big junk out. We'll start plasmaing, see where we end up, and then yeah, lots of screwing around. I think slow and steady. I don't want to accidentally chop anything out. And all these unibodies, everything kind of runs. There's no frame for it to run on, so it all kind of runs onto the floor. So I'll probably end up mangling some brake lines and fuel lines and a parking brake cable and all that stuff. But as long as I know it, I'm trying not to. I feel like it's not so bad, right? Look how cool this thing is. Stoked to have a floor in it. So I can put carpet in, and then I got a headliner, which I might put in, or just put in the trunk for the next guy. You know, who knows what'll happen here. It'll be good. All right, well, we got most of the big bits out. Anyways, the old floor and stuff. Big hole in the front. This is where it's gonna be a little tricky because it does, the frame runs here and it tees across. And so that's where I'm gonna have to get in and start grinding out all the spot welds and start taking the stuff out. I gotta decide what I want to do with these things. I'll do that tomorrow. I think I'm probably just gonna take all this out. It looks like it's just kind of glued in or something like that. So if I can knock those out with a hammer. I think it's just like seam sealed in or something like that. And actually this one's pretty rotted. I can take all that out, get all that out, and then the floor will just kind of sit down. It should be a pretty simple process. And then same thing, the back, get under here and mess around with that. And yeah, I can just kind of zip it along there. It looks like it's a pretty tight fit. So I think if I take a little bit more time with the screwing around factor, so I might just go ahead and start doing that. I mean, you've seen the carnage. At the end of the day, if I spend another probably evening on this, I'll have all these pieces off and just the bracing left, which is kind of probably boring to watch. And then we can actually test fit the floor and then plug weld it all in, and actually weld across the front, across the back. And then, I don't know if this is completely, it's just plug welded and seam sealed or what, but I'll do a little Googling on that as well. But I think we'll be done for tonight. It's about 10 o'clock and doing a bunch of cutting and all that stuff. I like to kind of let the car sit for an hour before I go right to bed so I don't wake up to a fire alarm. So I'm going to leave it sit and see you guys tomorrow. Next day, just got home from work. I had to stop and get some sanding belts. So, as you can see, the structure's all out of it, or the floor's all out of it, but the door's still open and closed. So no panic there. So now, we got a little bit of screwing around to do. There was one little hole in this little kind of top plate right where my finger is, and there's a little bit right at the front of the sill kind of area, which might even be part of the floor, so we're gonna do that. So we gotta disassemble. I'm gonna take all this stuff out, take the kick panels out, make sure the wiring's all safely, well, moved, and then we're gonna start cleaning all this up and getting it out properly. Now, it's kind of hard to show. So right here, you see this little indent. That's where it's kind of spot welded on. So that's where I'm going to take my little belt sander. You just zip through that on the floor itself. It'll release it, and then that whole piece should come out kind of easily. So it's going to be a lot of ugly stuff like that. Getting those kind of pieces out. And then I got to decide how far up I want to go. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to take, because this, I was looking on the internet, I believe this is just spot welded on as well. So I'll get this off. If that's the case, then I can actually take this whole piece out and then lay the new one in. I think I just want to use as much of that full pan as possible. The only thing I'm questioning is how I'm going to do the back, because the floor tucks under, and then it kind of comes up the side. So we'll see how much I can get accomplished, but that's the plan. So I'm gonna get grinding and try and just take this ugly bits off, and maybe I'll bring it back once it's kind of just the structure is left, because it's pretty tedious. Making progress. So it's been a couple of hours. I'm kind of bored, and I'm gonna have a little break here, but I got everything off. So I'm down to just the braces. You can see where there's a signing spot. That's where there was a spot weld. So I got all those out, and everything looks great. I mean, you know, it needs to be cleaned up, but really not that bad. The only spot I have is this one little piece right there, which is really no big deal. I might just zip it out even. I don't think it's structural anyway. This is what gets all its strength, and this is where the torsion bar is, and the box. It's fine. In the back here, I could hear you guys yelling at me, don't be lazy. So I decided not to be, so I drilled out all the spot welds, and then it was seam welded just a little bit at the tunnel, but now this piece will, well, it'll be factory. So I'm gonna take a little break, recharge the batteries, literally, pull these out, and then I just gotta decide how far I want to cut up here, and then drill out the spot welds onto the sill or whatever this box is for strength. And yeah, then I got one little, that side's good, but unfortunately just right in there. Just a little spot there I gotta weld, but once I get this out and the rest of the floor out, we'll be able to see it. I'll just plate it. I got some thick steel. Should be fine. Looks like it goes right up into that main support, so I should be able to go in there, go way past into the sill where it's got lots of strength, and it'll be perfect. Door's still open and closed. There's no worries there. These have lots of strength. No worries at all. Oh, I think it's pretty good. And then I'll have to obviously dress these up with the flap wheel, because I'll have to grind to them. And then I guess I'll have to put the pan in and then trace it all and see where I want to drill the holes, or I don't know what I'll do so I can weld it. But yeah, simple but tedious, and I've made a hell of a mess. So I think I'll charge the batteries, clean up a little bit, and we'll be back. All right, I've been working like crazy. I know it probably doesn't look much different than it did, but...
Well, it doesn't look like you've done anything.
I will bury you. This,
With what floor?
Oh, exactly. So, I mean, I got her all kind of sorted out. So many spot welds cut out. I mean, we're right up flush now with the toe board, whatever you want to call it. Getting behind the pedals was a nightmare. I just got one little section to deal with there. I did start welding in my little patch, and, but you know what? It's late. I'm tired. I think I'll finish that off tomorrow, because I think then we got to test fit the floor. The floor should just fit in. I'm hoping it'll be like, I'm remembering of that, what was it, 56, where it just went in, and it was really no big deal. So I'm hoping that's gonna be the same case. These Dodges, nothing was seam. Oh yeah, the Plymouth. Sorry, the Plymouth. Don't unfollow. Everything was just spot welded in, or plug welded in, whereas Chevy's was seam welded. But whatever. So we'll get that all dialed together. I think. What day is tomorrow?
Wednesday?
We'll see how... Oh, today's Wednesday. Nope.
No.
We'll see how much work I can get done. It's late. I'm tired. But I need some nachos with cheese. But we'll see how tomorrow goes. And hopefully, if I can get it knocked out, I'd like to get this video finished. This is now day 2 and going on day 3. I'd like to put a video. It's probably getting a little long. You're probably tired of watching me complain about cutting floors, right? But, man, I keep buying these Flintstone editions. It's all I can afford. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Alright, well, it's the next day. I started doing a little bit of work on the floor. It's just cutting and grinding its ugliness. I wrestled this thing in, the floor pan, into the car by myself, which was a nightmare. I probably should record that. That would have been some good watching. Maybe I'll record myself trying to suck it out, but there might be a lot of ass crack because you're all over the place. So, it's a floor in a car. Now, there are a few issues. This is supposed to be under the floor, and then it gets welded on. Now, to do that, you got to get the floor up, forward, tilt it down, and then kind of get it under. So that's a lot of screwing around, and then it's going to be a pain to get out. So what I was actually going to do, I'm going to get under the car and mark where all the braces are, so I can drill the pan out for where I'm going to put my welds, my spot welds. pretty simple across the back and everything. Now, it's real tight on the side here, which I don't think it has to be. The other one stopped like a 1/4 inch or so away. So I'm gonna run the zip cut on there because it's actually kind of folding the pan in just a little bit. It's kind of high in the center, you can push it down. It's just, I think it's bunching up. And I mean, here you can see it's got lots of room. So I'm gonna zip, I don't know, 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch out of each side. That'll free it up. I've got it in the front where I want it to be, so that's good. So I'll have to clean up the front of the pan because I'll be stitching it with, you know, welding it to the floor. I've cleaned the toe board of the car. Just put a bunch of holes along the side. The back here, like I said, I'm only going to use as much material as I need because I think it'll be easier to pop it under. So I'll zip that out. Well, it's in the car now. The brace, if you remember, that kind of went here and then up for the torque box. I'll mark down the bottom side and then just pepper it with holes and dress the top, so with the grinder. And then I guess I'll just put my body weight on it and start kind of plugging it in. I think I'll probably start in the middle and work my way out. That way it kind of goes out because there's room to move outside, but not a lot to move inside, right? The only concern I have right here, so the sills on these unibodies, or whatever you want to call these Dodges, is quite structural. So they're pretty beefy. And that's where the seatbelt goes. So it has the hole drilled and tapped in the center, but here you actually have to drill a hole, and then it's actually seatbelts in the sill itself. So I'll make sure I get that in the right spot, and then I'll just kind of finish up the edge, seam seal it, and be done. So yeah, I'm just gonna get under it with a marker. I'll mark the bottom side or some white paint or do something just so I can see it. On stand, so it's gonna be a bit of an ugly job. Wrestle it out, drill my holes, kind of cut it a little bit, and go from there. I guess I can also just kind of cut this after the fact, not the end of the world. I gotta grind it all down and stuff, but yeah, so I'll do that. We'll come back and watch me do some struggling. All right, well, a bazillion holes later. So hopefully you can see, like, I just kind of, I had it where it was going to be, and I traced, that's the outside of the little piece, so I just kind of eyeballed it, went in, drilled it, same thing I marked there, all around there. I trimmed the top off. Right here I had a little whoop, but overall it's not too bad. I got to get on the other side and clean it all up. I trimmed the back down, I don't know, maybe an inch or so. So that's good. Inside the car, the light's not around me, but so I cleaned up all the edges. Actually in here I just painted it black, and then I went over it again with the flap wheel and clean it up so it's nice clean metal. Yeah, I think we're ready to wrestle this thing. Oh, I gotta measure for the seat belts. Good thing you guys reminded me there. That would have been embarrassing. All right, I'll get that done, then we'll wrestle this thing in. Alright, I've been jamming, I got her in. You kind of saw me struggle. Actually went in not too bad the second time. I think I figured out the old key. Anyways, I got it, all my vice grips clamping the two flanges together at the front. So that's where it's going to be. The only one's a little meh is the driver's side. Just because I couldn't quite get in there, so I had to zip cut it at an angle. So it took out a bit of that flange, unfortunately. Because the pedals and there's a lot going on that side. Otherwise, I mean, it's all pretty much there. You can, it'll show up, but there's metal below all my holes, which is good. I've been putting in these, just these self-tappers, but sucking it right down. So, again, hopefully it'll show up on camera, but we're right on top of the metal. So that's good there. On the side, same thing. We're all good. I stopped here because the sides, the floor actually kind of used to curve in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is get it all kind of down. It'll pull itself down, then I can know exactly where to cut, because it just kind of goes at a bit of an angle. This was the pain part where it had all the spot welds, but again I put these self tappers in, sucked it right down, so there's, you can see the metal right under it, so it worked out good, which then pulled down here. See, it just has that little tiny bit, so I'll put a self tapper in to hold it, or maybe I'll just put my hammer handle on there while I buzz those in. So that's good. The tunnel fits absolutely perfect. That worked out just great. And the passenger side is actually pretty good too. Again, I guess gotta do the edge. Just right here, it's got a funny little stamping where the high-low beam was, and it seems high. So I don't think it's hitting anything, so I can kind of move it. I wonder if it's just a little bent. This pan was pretty flexy, and I mean, shipping it, who knows. So I think I might just have to kind of weld it all in there and smash that in and then plug it in. But yeah, I think it's going pretty darn good. I put a few tack bolts in the back just to kind of hold it, because there was a floor jack. The floor jack's under it because it's, again, the pan goes under, then teeter-totters on the thing. We have a little snack break, and then I think we're going to come back and just jam and get this thing welded in, which is going to be a lot of welding. Just a bazillion little boop, 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 boop. Do that, get all cooled off, then I can seam seal it. I'll let her dry for tomorrow, and then want me to put a coat of paint on it, but then we're done. This has been three long evenings to get this taken care of, so it's definitely more work than the full floor in the Tri-5, but it was way cheaper. This floor was, I think, $300. It looks pretty good, I think, anyways. Be fucking mint when she's all done. Seam sealed and painted black. Well, just the edges black. And then I got to drill the holes for the seats. There's one little, actually, a tear in the back. I'll weld that shut, carpet, seats in, and make revving noises. I'll see you guys in a bit. Well, after a brief intermission, I'm ready to get back after it. So I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to weld the back in. I'm happy with the way it fits, just the front has to go down, so that's not going to affect nothing. So I'm going to start the back and kind of weld it, weld around the sides, weld the braces and all that. So I tried to pound on the front of the floor to get her down a little bit. The whole floor is just, you know, kind of twisting around. So I think I'm just gonna set the camera up, and we'll you can watch me struggle. I don't know if I'll do every single thing, but like every third or fourth plug I'll get that going, do a few on the sides. Like I said, just get it kind of in so it's not going to go anywhere, because as you know, metal doesn't want to bend if it can twist instead, right? So yeah, stoked on this thing. God, does it look good. Way better than it was. And what a pile of work. I've reflected on it, but I am glad I've done it. There we go. She's all kind of plug welded in there. Now, across the back, I still have lots more. I only did 3 or 4 of them, and there's unfortunately a pile, but whatever. And I just kind of get a few stitches around the hump. I want to do a few more there. Now, what I was doing is everything was all self-tappered down. So now, basically, I'll do the exact same thing I just did. I'm not going to film it, but pull every one of these self-tappers out and plug weld them back in. Now, I find if you kind of hit them at a bit of an angle, you still get a little bit of penetration, but I mean, the floor is not going anywhere. There's no parts where it bounces or anything, so it should be good. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll get that all done. It's perfect. And then I'll just do a little bit of trimming at the front and just, like I said, kind of hammer it down, get a few stitches, and then yeah, I'll bring it back, seam seal it. I'll clean all this junk out. The garage is an absolute disaster. Look at all that, floors and stuff. I kept the floors because there's a couple little braces there I want to kind of cut off, I think, for the seats go through. And I thought I should have it just in case I need a measurement, or I'm a hoarder, whatever. But yeah, it looks good. Again, this is a pile of work. But I guess this is what happens when you do it properly, right? Instead of just kind of welding on a street sign. Okay, I'll get going. I'll get a little bit more cleaned up and I'll bring you back and we'll seam seal it and call her a video, right? I'm stoked. Well, it's been a long couple of days, but floor's all in, cleaned everything up. I seam sealed it and just gave all the spots I welded a quick coat of flat black paint. So this stuff's still set up, but you can see I just gooshed it across and I just took a body filler squeegee and the whole way across. But yeah, no, I'm happy I did this first, because this is a terrible job. And I mean, I don't know. I try and get the one I hate the most out of the way. Quarter panels are probably next, which I don't mind doing. That's it's fun, you know. You chop a lot out and it looks real scary, but you put a new skin on there and you get it tacked in, before you know it, it looks exactly like the car again. So you really can't go wrong. So I'll do both of those, and I think it's just a couple little spots on the underside of the sill I gotta take care of. It's super minor. It's actually, I think there's where the plugs are for the drain, just kind of got a little gross around there, so I'll probably just weld it and drill a hole through it. I mean, that's all it was anyways. But yeah, pile of work. I think I'm just gonna clean up because it's an absolute gong show in here. Get all this stuff taken care of. Probably started on the quarters tomorrow on a new video, obviously. Oh, I did buy myself a little present today. Check these out. Oh, 25 bucks for 4, and they look mint. That was a good deal, eh? Stoked on them. Unfortunately, this one wheel has got a different, I don't know, it's bigger or something like that. Oh, maybe I'm just, no, it's bigger. So it fits on the other ones, but doesn't fit on that one. So it'll look cool on the other side. I gotta find a wheel. These are actually just 14 Steelies, but we'll see. That's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. As always, leave a comment. You know, tell me what you think. Do you like the Plymouth stuff? We got jammed through it. What your thoughts are with it? Quarter panels on. I think I tracked down a motor, hopefully. Another motor, maybe it'll be junk. Put that in, and I mean, really, this is such a complete car. It should go pretty quick. But see you guys on the next one. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great night.